Welcome to Someone's in My Fruit Cellar podcast.
where the trapdoor creaks open and horror classics come back to life.
I'm Blake.
And I'm Lonnie.
Each episode, we dive into the blood soaked brilliance of classic horror films, breaking down the 10 scenes that sent shivers down your spine and etched themselves into horror history.
From demonic possessions to final girls, we'll dissect what made these moments unforgettable and crank up the dread with the perfect soundtrack to match each one.
And how are you this week, Lonnie? Sorry, I almost forgot your name.
How could you forget my name?
Oh, a lot's been going on. What have you been up to lately?
Oh, I've been watching a lot of horror movies lately, and not too much. It's snowing here, so there's not really much else I can do but stay and watch horror movies.
And it's snowing here. Did I watch any movies lately? I don't know. I still want to watch Spinal Tap 2 soon, hopefully. I thought it was a horror movie. We could do that, but I guess it's not horror. And I think I watched, didn't I watch something? I don't remember. I can't remember. I don't think I watched anything. So do we want to just get into what we're going to talk about this week?
Yes, because we've got a lot to cover.
Yes, we do. Now, hopefully people listen to our last podcast, which was a different episode. It was just an interview with Kimberly Crossman from the movie that we're going to actually do this episode on. So we're doing this episode on Deathgasm from 2015. And this, of course, is a comedy horror, whatever, supernatural, whatever, zombies, I don't know what you want to call it. Directed by Jason Lei Howden. In his directorial debut, the film stars Milo Cawthorne as Brody, James Blake as Zach, Kimberly Crossman as Medina, Sam Berkeley as Dion, Daniel Cresswell as Giles, Delaney Tabron as Shanna, and there's a whole bunch of other people in it, but that's the only ones I got my names listed because there's too many people to go through if we're going to talk about, because there's a lot of minor characters, aunts and uncles, cousins, but I can't get into all those names. If you want to know who they are, you can look it up.
Or watch the movie.
Yes. And there is a Deathgasm 2 coming out early next year, hopefully, but you can listen to my interview that I just did with Medina, Kimberly Crossman, about that. We also talked about Xena, the warrior princess, and some of her stuff that she does and the fact that she's pregnant and everything, and she didn't go into labor on the podcast.
Thank goodness.
So do we want to just get into it, or do you want to talk about it first a little bit?
Yeah, she sounds like a really kind person. When I did a lot of extensive research on Kim, and she's involved with a lot of things pertaining to mental health, and she just seems like a really great, all around, kind, generous person.
And this was her first movie. I didn't even know that when I interviewed her. But wow. Deathgasm was her first movie.
Oh my.
I think one of my questions was, why did you, or like, how did you get the part or whatever? But she just wanted to be in a movie in the first place. And so it was
I wouldn't have been able to tell. She looked like
so, yeah. Yeah, she was good at it, and I've seen some of her other movies, like I mentioned in that podcast. But yes, listen to that podcast if you haven't already. We talk about this movie, a little bit about the next one, not a lot because it's not out. It has been played at some festivals, but I didn't want her to have to ruin anything for anybody, and I haven't seen it yet. You haven't seen it yet. But she did say, and hopefully she can do that still, she wants to come back on after we've seen it and do another episode, and we can talk about Deathgasm 2. So hopefully in the new year that can happen. Okay, and of course this is, I probably mentioned, but it's a heavy metal mixed horror with horror, of course, and I love those kinds of movies. There's a few of them out there. Trick or Treat is one, which we'll probably do an episode on sometime. And there's other one, Black Roses, but I don't even think I've seen that. There's Heavy Metal 3, Turbulence or something about in an airplane, where I've seen it, but I don't think it was very good. But it was a heavy metal group or something was playing on an airplane. And of course, Bruce Dickinson flies an airplane.
Yes, he
Anyway,
does.
so do we want to get into this then?
Yeah. How hard was it to pick songs?
Pick song. That's always hard.
Yeah. So with this particular movie, there's already a metal soundtrack, so
Yes,
difficult
but
to work around that. And I thought the soundtrack was great
I don't
movie
even know if
already,
I
so that
would.
made it more difficult for me to pick songs outside of what they had already chosen. I asked my fiance Ryan to help me pick songs this time, and I think he knocked this one out of the park. I just want to say happy anniversary to my fiance Ryan Hilario, and I love you.
And what band is he in?
He is in Abuse Ritual.
Okay. Might as well plug his band too, right? Yes, I know.
Abuse
Sorry, my
Ritual out
cat's
of
meowing at me.
Hudson Valley, New York.
Sweet. Okay. So are you ready? Okay, yeah, it was hard to pick the songs. It always is. And it's hard to organize this into 10 sections too, which is also hard. So later in the episode, some of my sections are really long because I just combined them into one section. So bear with me later on, maybe if I have to talk too much, but I'll probably leave some of it out. Okay, so anyway, the movie starts off. Oh, if you haven't seen this, make sure you go see it. But anyway, the movie starts off
Yeah.
metalhead Brody, Milo Cawthorne. Sorry, I keep saying it. He arrives in a small town. What's the small town's name? Why didn't I write that down? Anyway, he arrives in the small town to live with his ultra Christian aunt and uncle, and who also has a son. And I'm not sure why the cousin hates him before he even moves in, just because he likes heavy metal. I don't understand. Like, usually you're nice to your cousins when you see them and say, oh, hi, whatever, even if you don't know them very well. But he already hates them. His cousin is a dick and he's a bully with his friends, and he's a bully to Brody. Even, and why is it that these heavy metal guys are always picked on in these horror movies like Trick or Treat? Skippy from Family Ties in that movie, he was also picked on, even though the metalheads are supposed to be the ones people don't like and are scared of. But anyway, I guess whatever. So anyway, let's see. He meets his aunt, or he doesn't meet his aunt. He sees his aunt and uncle, and we meet his dickhead cousin. Let's see. He goes to school, and his dickhead cousin is picking on Dion, who I don't know if he knew Dion before that moment or if he just broke it up and Dion thanked him, and that's how they became friends. But Dion says to him, "Hey, well, let's do something completely badass." And of course, Brody says, sure. And then they go and play Dungeons and Dragons, I think it is, somewhere in the school. So it really wasn't badass, but I guess Dion and his friend, where's his other friend's name? I don't know if I had that. Oh, Giles. Dion and Giles. I guess they like Dungeons and Dragons. So while they're sitting there and they're blabbing about Dungeons and Dragons, Brody puts on his headphones and heavy metal playing in it. And then he's in this fantasy land where he's shooting laser at this girl's tops, and we get to see boobs in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and that's always a good sign. But then his cousin ruins it by shooting pee from squirt guns on the three of them, which kind of ends the scene. And they go and clean up. So that's just a short opening scene, but that sets the tone for what the movie is. This metalhead kid moving in with religious people and to a small town. So what do you think of the start of the movie?
The town is called Gray Point, I
That's
believe,
it.
right? Yeah. And I had to look it up too. I feel the cousin is one of those sporty jocks from school, just doesn't get along with his cousin. I feel like the beginning of the movie is it starts at the beginning where it's over the top, where you see the boobs and the fantasy and everything. And it gives it that comedic tone right off the bat, but it gives it that horror flair as horror and metal. They mashed it all up, which is great. I think they did it perfectly. In the movie, it signals that it's a blend of splatter, horror, metalhead comedy, the atmosphere. I find the atmosphere rebellious, of course. You got the good cousin who doesn't do any wrong, and then the metal head Brody, who doesn't fit in. He's always getting
Mhm.
bullied too. I felt so bad for him. I had a soft heart for Brody.
He's a metalhead. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he sees the girl Medina, Kimberly Crossman's character, and he likes her, but she of course is dating his cousin, the Dick, which is fitting, but I guess that makes the movie better later on,
Yeah,
probably.
and this is one of those movies where the relationship doesn't end, it flourishes.
Yeah.
The relationship doesn't get over in this movie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I don't have a. Yeah, I never thought of that when I was doing this. I was writing this stuff up.
I think the movie itself, especially the opening scene, is very contrasty between the wild, violent fantasy imagery and Brody's real life awkward. He's really awkward. He's not fitting in. He's got that awkwardness. And I feel like that's central to the atmosphere, especially in the opening scene in the movie.
Yeah, and actually, the movie opens with like him narrating, saying about stuff that's going to happen. I just left that out here. I don't really like movies. I don't like when movies do that. I wish they wouldn't do that. Even though they didn't show anything, he just said, so we already know. But even if you see the trailer, you know something's happening. But I don't like some movies where they'll show like a minute and then they'll say, oh, let's rewind or whatever. And then that part will come up again an hour and a half later. I just don't really like that. It's annoying to me. So this
Yep.
part was okay because he was just a little
Yeah.
bit of narration about it, but whatever. So do you have a
This
song
one was
for the
short.
opening of the movie?
I do. I have a song. The first one for this scene is Suffocation Pierced from Within. That's the one I chose. Poor Brody, he loses his father in a tragic death and he has to go live with his strict Christian uncle.
Oh yeah, and his mom went to prison, but she did something bad. I can't remember.
His cousin David is always undermining his self esteem as well. So it's really tough for this kid. He's been pierced from within.
Okay, and
What did
I
you choose?
picked Rainbow. Remember Rainbow, 70s?
Oh my
Ronnie,
gosh,
Ronnie
yes.
James Dio on vocals. I picked Black Sheep of the Family.
Oh, nice. I haven't
Because
heard that in a long time.
because that's, I guess, what Brody is. He's the black sheep of the family, even though it's his
He
dad.
is.
Whatever. Okay. Scene number two, or part number two. I really shouldn't call it scene because it's not a scene, but whatever. Okay. So we're in school again, and Brody's there, and he's doodling demonic drawings with big penises and things. And of course, the
Totally
teacher
gay.
catches them and whatever and throws it out in the whatever the garbage. And we also see Medina is in the class and feels bad for him and stuff. But let's see. So that was just a quick part in the school. And then we see him wandering around town and he stumbles upon the local record shop called Alien Records. And inside is where he meets up with Zach. First, he's talking to the store owner and the wife, who is Shanna, right? Is that Shanna? Or I forget. Maybe. But she does palm readings and stuff like that. And the guy shows her, or the guy that runs the store is showing him a record, whatever. Assume that was a fake group whose name I forget, but that they go to his house later. But I assume it's a fake group, so he's showing him that. And then he sees Zach is over looking through the records, so he goes over beside him, and they're both looking through records. And like Zach will pull out a record and look at it, and Brody will nod in approval or whatever of it. And then, in a funny little thing, Brody's not really looking, and he pulls out a Poison album, and then Zach looks over at him, and he quickly shoves it back in. I wasn't looking at Poison. Anyway, see, and so this is a moment where they share their taste in real metal and like bands where you can't read what it says on the album titles, things like that. Stuff like Lonnie likes. And but that's his Brody's first true connection, I guess, in Great Point, outside of the guys that would later be in his band. But whatever. Anyway, it sets the chaos. It sets the stage for the chaos their friendship will probably unleash. Okay, so what do you have? What about that part? That's also short, but
Yeah, after the opening scene, the film's second major scene shifts into the everyday world of Brody, where we see him exploring, and then he establishes his friendship with Zach at the music store. I feel like it was a really awkward meeting the way they met, but he feels uncomfortable around Zach at first, but then they clearly become friends very fast, which kind of takes Brody out of that feeling of isolation where nobody is accepting him.
yes,
Yeah, I feel like even though the situation was rough for Brody in the beginning, we still see a lot of comedy in his struggles. We also see awkward interactions. Zach is eccentric. He's quiet, but he's eccentric. Did you notice that? He exaggerates a lot. But it's short, this part. But I did the fact that Brody finally found somebody to vibe with because his chances were not good.
the record store is a good place.
Yeah.
I guess there's still. Do you still have a record store somewhere that you can go to?
Oh,
There's still
yeah, we
okay.
do, which is, you'd think in this day and age we wouldn't. Do you?
Not in where I live in a small
Oh.
town. I'm not sure how big this Gray Point was supposed to be as population wise. Probably similar to my town. Like my town's only 6,000 people, so there's no record store here. But if I drive 15 minutes to Stratford, Ontario, there's a record store there, or there's bigger ones in London, Ontario, which is like a half hour away. But I know they went away for a long time, but then they came back. Yes. But I remember, of course, the 80s. That's what you would do. Go doing just what they were doing, looking through the records, pulling them out, looking at them, putting them back, whatever.
Yeah. It used to be, I don't go to the record store anymore because I stream. Most people do nowadays.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it
I
used
have
to
a
be the thing to
turntable.
do.
I have a turntable still. And so once in a while, I will buy a record. But yeah, most of the time, I listen to music in my car or at work and it's on my phone. Yeah. So I'm just streaming it anyway. But
Right. It used to be a fun thing to do though before
yeah.
streaming. Yeah.
And I think I talked, did I talk about that with I forget when I talked about that with somebody, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, do you have a song for this one then? This is a hard
This
one probably to pick a song for, but
That's why I asked my fiance to do it. No, I appreciate his input. Decide Once Upon the Cross. That's the one. What did
that's
you pick?
okay. See, I just kind of went with the fact that Zach was a metalhead. He had the leather jacket on. He looked like
Yeah.
a metalhead. So I went with Canada's Canadian group Exciter, their song Heavy Metal Maniac.
I actually really like that song.
Because they're both heavy metal maniacs, I guess you could say. I like that song too.
Canada puts out some good metal.
Yes. That was probably from their second. I didn't make any notes of any of these things because I just did this today because whatever, a lot of stuff going on. But I think that was from their second album, which was also called no. What the heck?
That's
No, that was from their first album called Heavy Metal Maniac, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. But they're from Ottawa, or they were from Ottawa, and they're still
yeah.
around. They have a new guitar player, and they had a new. Oh, I think we talked. I think I must have used Exciter on another episode. I think.
No, I don't know if you
Oh no,
have.
that was Sacrifice. That's right. That was
Yep, that was
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice. Yeah,
Right.
and I know
Exciter
that
doesn't
band
have a new
too.
album, but they do have a member, and they were touring. So I don't know if they're gonna think about making music.
Well, look what I'm wearing.
What's that say? Cryptopsy? Cryptopsy. I hate that group because I don't know how
Cryptopsy.
to say their name.
That's Canadian.
Yes, Canadian.
Cryptopsy.
Yes, I see the thing behind you too. Nobody else could
So
see
I
that.
do support my Canadian metal.
I don't think I have anything Canadian behind me. I don't think, but it's okay. I like Canadian metal. I just don't have any band names on my wall. Okay, let me get to section 3 here. So the friendship. Now this kind of could have been in this last section, but I just tried to separate it. So their friendship begins, and Brody and Zach seal their bond in true metalhead fashion by becoming blood brothers. Not that I've never did that with anybody of my metal friends ever, but anyway, they became blood brothers with their shared obsession for all things heavy and unholy. And then they decide to start a band. And they bring in those other two guys that I mentioned earlier, Dion and Giles. I'm not sure why. There's got to be more metalheads in the school to pick these two guys that kind of look like they're nerdy guys and not really metalheads. But maybe they are too. But anyway, they start a band. And so they toss around band names. And I didn't write down some of the stupid, hilarious band names that they were trying to decide on. But anyway, Zach took charge and said, we're going to call it Deathgasm. All caps because lowercase is for posers. And then they recruit those two nerdy classmates. And then they start practicing in their band, I guess it's in Brody's base or garage, right?
Yeah, I believe it's the garage. It's like a dingy, old, rundown looking garage.
Yeah. And so they start playing. They suck. I don't really know if any of them really know what they're doing. But anyway, they play some heavy stuff, and then let's see. They didn't really show this, but I guess Brody and Zach went out. Oh, they got some. What did they get? I forget something about some gas or no, I don't remember. But they went and carved hail satin into some grass because they guess they don't know how to spell Satan.
The breakdown of the millennial generation. Because this is 2015.
Yes. So there's a montage of them thrashing out and surrounded by fake blood and whatever, chainsaws and all that crap and stuff. Yeah, so there we go. So that's
so cool.
So section 3 is about their friendship and bonding or whatever. You have anything to say about the scene? It was just them being their friendship growing.
What I observed, I'll talk about what I observed.
Sure.
And how I personally identify with them. Because when I was going to high school, there weren't very many metalheads. I was probably one of the only metalheads that walked around in school. Luckily, I lived right on the Canada border and I had plenty of metalhead friends, but they lived in Canada. I went to school in Canada. So I feel like those two nerdy boys, they were trying to introduce them to the metal scene, to build a bigger group of metalheads, which is what I had to do in high school. I had to convert people to metal to make friends. I feel like that's the vibe in the scene. They're like, we're the only two. We got to find more. We got to make a band. So let's find these two nerdy boys and hope that they'll play with us and wear a metal shirt or a leather jacket at some point. But the scene, it has a feeling of they found their tribe, the camaraderie between Zach and Brody begins, and they're like, let's get more people. And we see later Medina, they even try to get her to be a metalhead because she's just prim and proper.
Yes. I don't know if I mentioned it on this podcast or if it was my other one, the Metal Pit podcast, but also about school. I was the first in my high school. I don't know, there was probably only 500, 700 kids in the school. But when I first discovered Iron Maiden, I got a shirt. And so I wore it to school and nobody knew what it was. Like people would say, what's that? What's Iron Maiden? What's this? So I think I was the first person to wear an Iron Maiden shirt at my high school. I know I've mentioned that before. I just can't remember if it was on this podcast or not. But, and then you would see other people later, other people as years, because I don't know, this was probably in my third year of high school already, or second or third year, I can't remember exactly. But then you would see other people wearing Iron Maiden shirts later on, and like a computer whiz or whatever, and he'd have an Iron Maiden shirt on. And it's, oh, if he has an Iron Maiden shirt on, it must be okay. He's not like me, who didn't really talk to anybody or anything much.
Yeah.
Cool. But Yeah, so yeah, I know there wasn't many heavy metal, especially when it started, like in 1982. I'm talking, or in '83 when I was
Oh, you were at the beginning.
yeah, so I was at
Yeah.
the beginning of it, and so yeah, nobody knew what Iron Maiden was, and it was the Number of the Beast shirt is what I had because that was the first album I got, so that was the shirt that I had, and I don't think I ever got any flack for it because there was a devil on it, but it wasn't like that back then yet. Yeah,
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people may identify with that scene.
yeah,
Like thinking back at high school, I was the only metalhead and I was awkward and I was bullied for whatever, wearing
yeah.
goth clothes or metal shirts. And yeah, I feel
And
like,
for a shy guy like me and kid and like worrying about what everybody was thinking, and then you'd see a girl wearing an Iron Maiden shirt, and you'd be like, "Oh wow, she likes heavy metal."
yeah, it was a fun surprise to meet other people in high school that were into
Yeah,
metal.
not
Go,
that I would
what?
ever
You
go be
listen
able
to
to, not
that?
that I'd be able to go and talk to them or anything because I was too shy. But anyway, whatever. Okay, so what's your song for that scene part?
We're on the third one. So just gotta go down to my list. Cannibal Corpse, The Pickaxe Murders.
Always such pleasant songs.
Always.
Now, I was first gonna go with "Bonded by Blood" by Exodus, but then I thought, nah, I don't want to do that. So I went with an Iron Maiden song, not
Yeah.
from the Number of the Beast, but I went with a song called "Blood Brothers" because I thought that fits, right? They're blood brothers now, whatever.
It does fit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I'm not really sure what the lyric. I'd have to go back to read the lyrics of the song. Is probably something to do with war or something like that. Probably not about two guys just doing a handshake with some blood on their hands or whatever. But anyway, that's how it goes.
Blood brothers, and they share the same woman.
Yes, yes. Okay, here we go. Next part we got. Let's see. So Zach takes Brody. Oh, he says, "Do you want to do something badass?" And then Brody says, It's not Dungeons and Dragons, is it?" So that was comical, I thought. So anyway, so Zach takes Brody to this house of a reclusive metal legend named Ricky Daggers, a once famous musician. Now, I would say it says a once famous musician, but it looks like he's a famous black metal or death metal musician. So I'm not sure how famous those really are.
Yeah.
This isn't a famous like Taylor Swift famous. This is
No,
famous
no.
in the world
Nobody
of
in
heavy
death metal
metal.
can get that
Yeah.
famous. It's impossible.
Yeah.
They get pretty famous, but not like that.
Yeah. Okay. So the place looks like a rock and roll museum, old amps around, and then they find Ricky's passed out on the couch, clutching a vinyl record that is the last record that he made, I think. I'm not sure about that. Zach, and so he's sleep. So they don't. He's passed out. So Zach goes over to try to take the record, thinking that he won't wake him up. So he gets the record out, but then he does wake up. And he jolts awake and thinks they're like the cult or whatever that is out to find his this black hymn that he wrote, which we're going to get to more in a second. So they know he has these lyrics that can whatever bring out demons and stuff, which we're going to find out more about. So when I first watched it, I thought it looked like a government kind of guy or an FBI guy or something like that, but we realize he's part of a cult that wants these notes or lyrics or whatever. So they think it has something to do with this record that he has. So anyway, so they see this guy or the cameras show the guy standing outside and then he's coming in, breaking in because they're after Ricky. So he gives the record back to Brody and Zach and he says, guard it with your life. So they run out of the house and then the cult guy comes in and he slits the throat of Ricky Daggers and kills him. And then he goes back to his boss, the henchman boss, whatever, of the cult or something. And so he's standing there in front of the desk of his boss and he says, sorry, I didn't get the lyrics or I didn't get the notes, but I'll go I think somebody else got them first or whatever. And so the boss was mad and brings his two henchmen out to kill him. So they chop his head off, but then he gets mad because they got blood on his carpet. And he goes, "You should use a tarp." And so then he goes, "Do it again." And they have this confused, even though they have masks on because they're wearing whatever horns, and they seem confused. And so they go get a tarp, and one guy holds his head back on his neck, and they pretend that they cut his head off again. And he says, "That's better," or whatever. And then a woman pops up from under the desk and looks to see what was going on. I don't know what that girl was doing down there, Lonnie. Do you know what she was doing?
I have no idea. That was just random comedy, slapstick humor.
Cleaning under his desk?
Yeah.
Okay. I was watching that again, like the last time, thinking, wasn't there a girl under her desk? I'm thinking, where is she? And then, oh, yeah, there she is. Okay.
Ricky Dagger's house looks like a drug house, so who knows who's hanging out there at any given time. Yeah. So that's what I gathered from it. Ricky was so high, passed out, and people just come in and out as they please. That's how it is.
And I guess I forgot, they did go back. They took the record back, and then they opened the record up, and there was a Rick Astley album in there. And so then,
yes, that was later.
Was that later? So he threw it on the ground or something on the floor, but then some lyrics popped out, and that was the Black Hymn. So they had the lyric sheet for that song that is written in Latin that this cult wants. Yeah, I forgot to mention that part.
The satanic cult, yeah.
Yes. Do you have anything to add about the scene, though?
Ricky Daggers, he was a washed-up, reclusive former frontman of the legendary metal band Hex and Sword.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a real band.
No.
But that's a cool name for a band, though.
It probably is a band now, probably.
Yeah, but he's definitely has status among metalheads. I wish he would have stayed in the movie a little bit longer. I would have liked to see what they could have done with that, but
he had his throat slit, so heard.
Yeah. He had his throat slit, so there wasn't much they could do about that. I feel like Daggers was a key character, though, even though it wasn't very long, was very short-lived in the movie because it revealed the history of the music, the Black Hymn, and the evil that follows it afterwards. But he's definitely an eccentric. He's very paranoid. Ricky Dagger is very paranoid. I wonder what he had been through with the cult, the Black Hymn cult.
Yeah. And like, why is this guy somebody that can write lyrics that can summon demons?
And how does this guy, Ricky, who can't even pull two thoughts together, have this very important information stuffed into an album with, and it's not even the right band record, you know? It was, I don't know.
Oh, it was funny. Yeah,
it was funny. It was very comical.
Yes. And so what song do you have with that then?
Number 4. Morbid Angel, Summoning Redemption.
Oh, I know Morbid Angel better than I do the other groups you mentioned so far.
I know Morbid Angel.
Yeah, I've seen them live once, I think. Where?
Yeah, where did you see them live?
I saw them in Hamilton, Ontario. They were part of Slayer and Pantera, Slayer, Static X.
Nice.
Morbid Angel, and some other
saw them in Montreal. That's why I asked. Oh. I saw them in 98. So I was like, were you at the same show I was?
No, it was I think it was Pantera's tour, but I don't know. I'd have to look it up to figure out what tour. I was
probably at that one too.
And I think I mentioned that on the podcast too. One of them. I just can't remember. So my song, again, this was really hard to do. So I just went with Merciful Fate, The Oath, because I'm just thinking the Black Hymn is like an oath. And because they want to read the lyrics. And so that's what I went with there.
Great pick.
Yeah.
You said you don't know, but you make it seem easy. You pick all the best songs.
Well, it's not easy, but yeah.
No, it's not. I know.
Okay. Now, finally, we get Medina back in the story here. So number 5. So the guys go out to make a music video, and they're looking like mortal. or a group like that. I'm not even sure
Yeah.
what kind of music they're supposed to be playing. Are they supposed to be black metal, Deathgasm? Are they supposed to be death metal? What, I don't even know what they're supposed to be exactly. But going by
Either.
the video, you think they must be black metal by the video that they're making in the woods and whatever. They're goofing around with their little cameras making a video. And when they get done doing that, they go back to the car. And this is, I wrote this down. Just it happens when you open the trunk, it says bodies go here. I just thought it was funny. So I made a note of it. Well, let's see. And then they're outside. I don't know if they're outside an ice cream shop. That's what I called it anyway. But Medina's just coming out of the ice cream shop and sees Brody and starts talking to him and says, "Do you want to get an ice cream cone?" I think because she feels bad for him that the teacher picked on him and that she knows that her boyfriend doesn't like him and picks on him too. Because I think earlier in the movie she said it doesn't really turn me on when you pick on when you bully people and stuff like that or whatever. Anyway, so they go sit on a park bench or whatever. So she's got like a sundress on with flowers on it or whatever, and then he's dressed like a guy in Immortal or whatever. And so they're having ice cream. And she says that she has the note from school. She got it out of the garbage of his artwork that he was doing. She says he's a good artist. She says maybe you can design my tattoo if I get a tattoo sometime. And she like pulls down her top and says maybe I'll put it here close to her breast, I guess, like teasing him. And she lifts up her leg, her dress to show her thigh more, saying maybe I'll get it there. Because I guess I don't know, is she horny? I don't really know what's going on. But anyway, she's teasing him or whatever because she knows he's shy and stuff too. And then so he says to Medina, he says, "Do you like heavy metal?" I think is what he says. And she replies, "Isn't it just a bunch of screaming?" Which is, I've heard that lots of times in
Yep.
my lifetime. And Brody kind of grins and then he says, "That's only in death metal or maybe grindcore or maybe," and he names off a bunch of genres. And I'm thinking, okay, stop. You've mentioned enough. But anyway, then he tells her what metal means to him about the power and the emotion, the freedom, and whatever takes you away from stuff. But we already know it's what metal is. And then I included this too. They went back. So after that, so they I guess they kissed right on the bench and stuff, and had a sweet little moment, whatever. And they were gonna meet. Oh no, that came later. Sorry. Then they went back and played the song again or something. Is that right, or is that no? That is next. Or I left that
And they
in
sit on
here.
the bench. Yeah, they sat on the bench, shared an ice
Yeah,
cream, and
but yeah, then when they went home again, then the next day, I
Mhm.
guess probably. But I do have that in here.
Yeah, because then the friend swooped in, Zach swooped in, so they didn't see each other, right?
Yes.
Mhm. For
Yeah.
a while in the movie,
Okay.
they weren't.
Anyway, I guess that's in the end of that part mostly. Anyway. Okay. So, what do you have anything to add about that? I know that is a classic scene, the view of them sitting on the park bench,
Yes,
looking
and
so different.
there's a meme that was floating around. It's quite popular. Did you ever see the meme
I think
where
so.
he's sitting?
Yes.
Yeah, where they're sharing an ice cream on the park bench.
Yes.
And it alludes to metalhead guys who try to find a relationship with a regular girl, or when you're in a relationship with a regular girl, this is what it looks
Mm-hmm.
like. She's definitely a very simple type with her dress, but I feel like she's open minded, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's why he's attracted to her. And I, the characters think they look really cool with their corpse paint and everything, but they
Yeah.
actually look like an over the top 80s, 90s metal music video, and they're trying to make it work. But they're having fun doing it. I like that scene. I really like that part when they were trying to make a music video. But then you see that they're starting to summon these demons
Yes,
or
because they
this
play the
occult.
song again. That's the part I didn't really
Yeah.
add in, but I need to add it in because of the song I picked.
Oh,
So
yes.
yes, they did play the song again, and you can see it starting in the town. People are transforming into,
Yeah. You can see a little spark of something starting to
yeah,
happen,
yeah.
something sinister, early hints of occult and demonic elements entering the story. And this is where we get the, oh, okay. the Black Hymn.
Yes.
That's what those musical lyrics or whatever the music was that they found. His uncle starts bleeding outside because he keeps coming out and telling him to stop playing. He does not like the metal music, and he starts convulsing, standing in the driveway. I love it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely badass Brody trying to get Medina. I think that was really.
Well, I think we got more of that next too. Anyway, also, yeah, because the next scene is where she listens to the song, so we'll get to that there.
Yeah.
So, what song do you have for that part that we just did then?
I have Nile, the Blessed Dead. What do you have?
That's romantic.
It's so romantic.
Now my song just goes with the last part of that where they play the song again and the town starts turning. So I have Venom's Welcome to Hell. Because whatever. Okay. Because they couldn't really think of you could think of the part where they're on the bench and stuff, but there's not really too many love songs that really are gonna fit unless we're gonna throw Poison in here or something. But we better not do that. At least not for this movie. Okay. Then we get to part 6. We're halfway through the movie. We're probably more than half. Oh no, I don't know. We'll see. Now they're getting longer. My descriptions maybe, but we'll see if I skip some parts here. Okay, so Brody has a little awkward romance, I guess, with Medina. We'll say. See Medina. Oh yeah, Medina's walking down the street listening to her pop music. I'm assuming. And then she says, "Oh yeah, Brody gave me a CD," which I guess I forgot to mention. He gave her a couple CDs. Not anal cunt though. I don't think he gave her that one.
No.
That name came up or something.
He didn't start her off smooth though. He gave her the most heaviest shit he could give her. Come on. Start a little lower than that.
It was kind of like cool power metal probably that he gave her.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she puts it in her Walkman, her CD Walkman, because this is 19. What year is this? 95?
2015. I was wondering why. Don't you have a smartphone?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. Maybe it was set earlier. Maybe it's set in the 80s. So I don't know exactly how that worked. But anyway, yeah, so she had her CD Walkman, and so she puts the CD in, and then all of a sudden she goes into a dreamland like Brody did earlier in the movie. And then so she goes into a dreamland thing, a metal dreamland, and she's like a warrior princess, like Xena. But then there's two girls that are under her bowing to her, and they start kissing, which I can't say I didn't mind. But you think if it's a female's fantasy dream, wouldn't it be some guys involved? But anyway, whatever. I don't write them.
Who the hell wants guys in a female fantasy dream? If I'm dreaming about another female, I'm not going to be thinking about no men. Come on.
Okay, it doesn't say she's bisexual or anything. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, so there's that part. So she turns into kind of she likes her, like that look on her face. I mentioned this on my interview with her that I love the look on your face when you listen to it or supposedly listen to it. I thought it was really good, especially since it was her first movie, but it was a good. Now I wish I would have seen my face when I first listened to Number the Beast album for the first time. I wish I could have seen what my face did when I first listened to it, because it changed my life when I first listened to it. So I wonder what my facial expression was. But anyway, just going off there. Okay, anyway. So then of course, Brody's cousin is mad because I guess he was actually seeing them when they were on the park bench, weren't they, or something. So he knows. So he goes and beats up Brody at school with his buddy there, and they beat him up and kicking him. I don't know, when the guy was kicking him, I don't think I wrote this down. When his friend was kicking him, he looked like Angus Young. Did you ever?
Yeah, I picked up on that.
Because he had like shorts on like Angus Young wears, and of course they're from Australia, ACDC. The movie was made right there, New Zealand. But I don't know, it just looked like he was trying to act like Angus Young when he's playing the guitar or something, just with his movements or something. But maybe that was just a coincidence. So anyway, they beat him up, and he's all bloody. Let's see, and where did I skip a part? Where is that? But Medina comes across Zach and gives him a note to give to Brody, but Zach doesn't want that. So he shows up and meets Medina and says that Brody's not interested, and so her heart was broken and whatever. He gives her a coat because she was cold, blah, blah, blah. Boy girl stuff. But anyway, Brody or Zach is portraying Brody in this way because he's jealous. But anyway, so that's the scene. So what do you got?
Yeah, he's not being nice.
Yes. And
Zach
he wasn't
is
stealing
jerk.
gas, he was stealing diesel, whatever. Okay. From an ambulance, no less, too.
Ego, yeah, Zach's got too much of an ego. He's too much of it. He's good looking, but he's got too much of an ego. And I think I'm not sure if it was jealousy or if he just didn't want his friend to get with a girl and complicate their friendship. So he decided, I'm just going to try to get with the girl. So then that ends everything. It's a
Yes.
complicated situation there. Is this where they meet Abigail, the fortune teller? Is this the part?
Where they meet who?
Abigail, the fortune teller.
She was at the record store. Abigail. So they already knew about her.
Okay, yeah. But
No, they go see her again later, though.
okay.
Probably in the next scene. Yeah, in the next scene they go see her. So this part is just about the girl Kim Medina discovering that she wants to be heavy metal, or that she likes heavy metal, or doesn't hate it, or whatever you want to call it. And it's the boy girl stuff, I guess, is what this scene is mostly about. And then we get to the horror stuff more in the next one.
Yep.
So what song do you have for this one then? Do you have a love song? A breakup song, a country song, a breakup song?
Ew, country. Blech. No, I have Napalm Death. Silence is deafening.
Silence is deafening. That's good. I had a photography thing. I called it Deafening Disarray.
Oh, that's cool. I like
That's
that.
what I would, if I would have ever been good enough to play in a band, that would have been my band's name.
Wow, I like it.
Deafening Disarray. Now somebody's going to steal that and make a band called Deafening Disarray, but whatever. I didn't copyright it. But it's right here on this podcast. That's my name.
If you see it on there, you know that they listen to our podcast.
So my song for that, I went with the part where Medina listens to the heavy metal. So I picked Lee Aaron. Lee Aaron, you remember Lee Aaron?
Yes.
Metal Queen, because now Medina's a metal queen.
Yes.
She likes some metal and she's a female, so metal queen.
That was my reaction when I first listened. It wasn't a CD, it was a cassette tape. But when I first listened to metal, I was like, yes. I turned into like this warrior princess metal chick, and I had the imaginary. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so tough and so cool. I'm gonna wear all the shirts. Yeah. She was going through the transformation.
Yeah.
It was nice to see.
Yes. And she turned from a beautiful regular girl to a beautiful metal chick.
I
so
think
hopefully Kim's listening to this episode because I told her we're doing this. So remember I said that. Okay. Or we'll mention it to her hopefully the next one.
But I really love the metal look on Kim. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
Really good.
All girls look better when they have a metal band shirt on, right? Just changes everything. Okay. So now we go. This one's a little longer. Oh, this is a really long one, I think. So I'll try to go a little quicker here. Okay, so they go back and I guess they already did play the song again because they already passed out. I should have put that part in here, but whatever. So they play the song, and of course, the neighbors and townsfolk start vomiting black sludge and transforming into demons, or maybe I guess they're called demons then, but I think the Deathgasm 2, they're calling them zombies, I believe. At least I think I saw that in the trailer or something. So I don't know. I guess they could be whatever, either or.
Some sort of, some sort of demonic
people, just like they do in zombie movies, or
right, some sort of demonic occult force.
So they play the song and they pass out, and then when they wake up, they go out and see what's going on, and that they realize then that the song did it to these people or whatever. they go to Zach's house, I guess it is, into the garage where his dad is. His dad fixes cars or something, and his dad's banging his head against the wall or something. And you go, "What's wrong with your dad?" And so Zach goes over to his dad, and he turns him around, and he's holding his eyeballs in his hands, and he goes, "I see you," or something like that. And so then they have to kill him because he's trying to kill them. And so then an engine from the roof that was tied up on the roof of the garage falls on him and kills him. And then Zach says, "Oh, I think he would have wanted to go out like that." And then Brody says, "You mean his eyes ripped out, his face ground off with a saw," which they also did, "and his head mashed under a car engine?" And then Zach nods greenly and says, "Totally. For whom the bell tolls, old man." So yeah, so they realize that everybody's turning into demons. Well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people are turning into demons. But then we flash to the other two bandmates who are at Brody's house looking for him, I think, him and Zach. And then there's all, and they're fighting off all these people. They got like what's he got? A paintball gun? I don't know. And he's shooting Dungeons and Dragons dice at zombies or something. I don't know. But, and then Medina comes in with an axe and chops a guy's head in half and splits it in half. And of course, I like that where did I write that down? She said, "Oh, I should have said he was axing for it." Yes, anyway, that's funny. Let's see. And then we got, let's see. Then I think Zach and Brody go, or they're having a little fight here. Did I miss that part, or is that coming up? I don't know. But they go to the record store, right? And Abigail there, and she's not doing so well because I guess were the demons or the cult there looking for those notes, maybe is what was going on. I don't know, but she's saying they told her we played the song, and she says, "You fucked us all, and it will happen at the devil's hour, which is 3 a.m." And then I like this part here where Zach says, "Eastern time or Pacific time? Do demons know daylight savings?" I really like that part. I'm going to talk about that more in a second. So Medina and the two surviving bandmates go back to the school for refuge because that's the school's the safest place when there's a zombie attack. I don't know. And Brody's cousin's friend is fully possessed. Yeah, he's in the school. I don't know. It was something that looked like he was on wheels. He's talking to Brody, but I can't really understand what he's saying because he's like a demon. He's talking like a demon, but he knows he wants the Black Hymn pages. And so Brody's determined to save the world, and they go back to his house to find the lyrics. And that's where my scene ends here because we have the other stuff coming up next. So, yes, what do you have to say about that whole big part there?
I think Medina was pretty hot in this scene. When
Yes,
she
yes,
comes
she
up
was.
with the axe and she's acting tough. She was tough, actually.
You start listening to metal, you get tough, right?
Yeah, you do.
I don't, but
And
others do.
the whole engine on the head scene, I thought Zach kind of just washed his hands of his parent at that point. He didn't seem too upset.
No, he wasn't too upset.
Didn't seem too upset. So okay, whatever.
But the part I like, the 3 a.m. thing, that it's funny that they brought it out where he says, "Is that Eastern time or Pacific time?" And he also could have said, "Or Central time, or is there any other? Is it just three
Yeah,
or
I like
four?"
that.
Because
Daylight savings time.
there's been other movies that it's like, I think Amityville Horror was one where it was he would wake up at 3:15 every a.m. the dad and then want to do something. And I'm like, what happens if he lived on the West Coast? Would it be midnight that he's doing this or whatever? Because they've said this time before that 3 a.m. is the witching hour or the devil's
Yeah.
hour or whatever. But it doesn't matter what time zone you're in because if you're in the east and zombies arise at 3 a.m. here, you can call people in the west and say, "Hey, you got 3 hours before the zombies are
Yep.
coming." But anyway, I
It
just
does
thought it
make
was
sense. When does anybody know the answer to that question? Because I'm intrigued to know. Did they?
Because there is such a thing as the witching hour and the time of the day. You're supposed to do things like seances and things like that. But I guess it only matters where you live. I don't know.
So if
You go.
somebody's summoning demons at 3 a.m. their time, let's say they live in Australia, to somebody who lives in the Eastern time zone, would that affect me?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they're summoning at 3 a.m. It's 3 in the afternoon here.
We're gonna have to bring a scientist in to be on their
I
podcast to
know.
talk about
I think they do their summoning and then they save a clip of it and
and
then
how do
when
the
it's
demons know what
your
time it is
time, they
anyway?
like send the little thing over. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So what song do you have for that one?
I have Deeds of Flesh, Dawn of the Next,
Okay.
California.
California.
Yeah, Deeds of Flesh.
Now mine, okay, whatever. I went with Zach's line, For Whom the Bell Tolls, so I put Metallica, For Whom the Bell Tolls, which I've probably used before. Maybe I haven't. Sure,
I
but
don't
I
think
know I use
so.
Metallica a lot, I think. So anyway.
I don't think
So I
you
went with
have. You've used it, but I don't think you've used that one.
okay, maybe not. So I suppose the thing that should not be could be in this movie somewhere, but I didn't double use a group, so I try not to do that on the same episode if I can help it. Okay, section 8 here. So Brody and Zach get back to his house, and Brody says to Zach, "Watch out for my uncle and aunt. They hate you, and they might be demons." And of course, he wasn't wrong because they were demons. So they go into the house, and so there's a this glorious fight between Brody, or not, with Brody and Zach against his aunt and uncle, Brody's aunt and uncle, that is. And when Brody, I don't know, Brody starts fighting with the uncle, I think it is one of them, doesn't matter. And Zach's drinking a beer, and he has to keep finishing his beer before he'll come help him or something. I don't know. That's not very nice. But anyway, it was just another jokey thing they had in there. Brody runs to get a chainsaw, and then just like any chainsaw, it takes 10 or 20 pulls to get the thing to start. At least from remember when I was a kid living on the farm and my dad using a chainsaw. Not on me, but whatever, using a chainsaw. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, they're in the bedroom. I don't know. So they're fighting them off, and they're in the bedroom, and they find a box that says, oh, he asks if his uncle has a gun. He goes, not likely or whatever, because they're religious. And he finds a
And they live
box
in
that
New
says
Zealand.
that says church supplies on it. So they open it up and they find a bunch of bondage gear and sex toys because that's what you keep in your box. It says church supplies. So they're fighting him off. Brody has the chainsaw. He comes in. Of course, he trips on the rug because I guess he's not that coordinated. And so they're fighting him off. They're grabbing sex toys. They're fighting him off with sex toys. Excuse me. Brody finally he gets the chainsaw through his aunt's and he's spraying blood and guts and everywhere. Intestines are falling out of her, but she's still twitching. So she finishes the job with jamming a pair of vibrating sex toys into her ears, and she collapses for good while the toys keep turning around in her ears. And so they're both dead, and they're sitting there like resting, and then Brody's cousin comes in, the dickhead, and he jumps up with a chainsaw and kills him. I think it's a chainsaw, right? And then Zach says, I don't think he was a demon. He goes, no, I'm pretty sure he's a demon. I think he said Satan. Didn't you hear him say Satan? Or whatever. And so that was the
Mm-hmm.
end of that scene.
Brody just
So,
wanted his cousin dead. I don't blame him.
yes. Now, I'm not sure why. Now, not that it, why is his cousin not turned when everybody else is? But anyway, whatever. His cousin wasn't turned, but now he's
He's just
dead.
too
Doesn't
evil
matter.
for evil.
Huh?
The cousin was just too evil for evil. They
Oh,
didn't even the evil didn't want him.
oh, that's right. That's right.
I love
Because
this scene. I gotta say, it's my favorite scene in this whole movie. The dildos, especially. It was so easy to kill them with those things.
Zach, I guess he shoved a big black one through the. Oh, he shoved it in his mouth. He was like put it in the mouth, right, of the uncle back and forth into his mouth and stuff until he shoved it right through and ripped his mouth apart or something. Yeah, good.
It is. It's like there's always like it's like I felt adrenaline spike, but then I felt like I wanted to laugh, and then I felt like all these emotions all at once in the scene where it's funny. It's
Well,
not scary to me because horror movies, but I watch a lot of them. But it was unpredictable. I didn't expect the dildo thing. That's something I didn't expect, and I thought, oh wow,
and
how
how,
clever.
because at the start he's whipping the guy in the head with the dildo. How hard is this dildo? He's whipping it in his head and his blood's flying. And like, well,
They
how hard
open
is
the
this?
box and they're just looking at thinking it was gonna be crosses and Bibles and stuff, and that they would thwart them off with like crosses, maybe.
Yeah.
But then they find sex toys. And I'm like,
And they had a lot
I
of
guess
them.
we're gonna have to make do what we got.
Now, maybe to defend the aunt and uncle, since they're not here to defend themselves, maybe since they were big in the church, maybe those are things they've confiscated from people at church, and that's why it
Nah, it was
says
their
church
sin box.
supplies.
It was their sin box. Come on. They were playing with those every
Maybe it's a
night.
lost and found from church.
Yeah,
Okay.
the church pew just randomly has a dildo sitting there. Let's collect
Oh,
it and bring it home. Maybe we can do something with it later.
now I brought this part up to Kim Crossman in my
Yeah.
interview with her, and I said, I'm disappointed that you weren't in the scene because I had some questions for you. And she said, wait till you see the next one. So I'm looking forward to something about her with something. I don't know what, of course, because I didn't want to ask her what, but so
I'm
that's something to look
excited.
forward to.
I'm excited.
Okay, so what's your song for that part then? Got any songs about dildos?
No, I could have, but I chose putridity, immersed in the spell of death.
Sweet.
You're like, who's that?
I don't know most of these groups. Some of the groups' names I know.
Well, you're not a death metal guy, right? Not
Yeah,
much.
no.
Yeah, that's what makes us cool. No, what did you pick?
Yeah. Okay, so I have another Canadian. This is my third Canadian artist on the episode.
Woo-hoo.
I have Pile Driver. I think did I use I could even
No, you
use
never
this song.
have.
Have I not used Pile Driver before?
Nope.
Okay. And I used their song Sex with Satan,
Oh, that's a
just
good one.
because they're sex toys and they're killing demons. So I'm thinking Sex with Satan.
That's a good one. I like that. You pick
So
such
there we go.
good songs.
Pile Driver's good, even though they only had 2 albums, I think. Check them out if you don't know Pile Driver.
I've heard of them.
Except
Yeah, they're
some
good.
of the lyrics are dated, but that's okay. Especially their song Metal Inquisition is very dated in the lyrics, but that's okay. It's still a good song.
Lost on the past.
Okay, number 9. So together they tracked down the Black Hymns. I guess that's together, Zach and Brody. They tracked down the note because I don't know, they're laying around outside, so they're picking them up. And and there's a zombie, a demon, whatever, that his penis is hanging out of his shorts or something. I'm not really, or he didn't have no pants on. I don't exactly know the reason there. And he had a whippersnipper. Is that what you call them in the States? Whippersnippers?
Whippersnapper.
I don't know, but so I guess he whippersnippered his thing, his dick, I guess you're gonna say. And then Zach says to Brody, "You're good at whacking guys off." It's funny. I need a drummer.
Ah,
I need your boyfriend's drums here to do that thing. Okay, anyway. Anyway, so Brody heads to the school and finds Medina sharpening her axe alongside with their 2 bandmates. And then he has a talk with Medina about seeing Zach's jacket and finds out that he lied to him and all this stuff. And so they have a little argument. Zach gets mad, leaves, says death to false metal before he walks away, even though I don't really understand what that means at that point. But anyway,
maybe he was calling him a poser.
maybe because of that Poison album he pulled out of the thing at the store.
Yeah.
I don't know. So Zach drives off. Brody and Medina regroup for their final stand against the because they want to play the song backwards, right? Is what they think
Yes.
might make the demons go back to where they came from, like Evil Dead-ish here, trying to read the notes so the demons would go back or whatever. So there one part in this where Medina she says "fuck yeah" or whatever, and she throws the horns, but she throws the wrong fingers or something,
I
and
love
so
you.
so Brody like bends. Was it just the thumb that she had out? Was that the problem? I forget. But anyway, Brody bends her hand down or whatever, so she's doing it right, and then she goes "fuck yeah" again and whatever. So that was cute.
Aw, she's learning.
Let's see. So then, oh, I guess I skipped. They're out in the street. I guess I forgot this part, or maybe I skipped it because I didn't want to talk too much. But the demon boss, he got killed by a woman, and so now she's, I guess, the demon boss, or trying wants these notes, and so she's in there and she ties them all up, right? All the band left and ties them up because she's gonna, and she starts reading the notes, I believe, the sayings in Latin or whatever, because they want to be, I don't know, they're trying to get all these powers so they can rule the world or something like that. Probably is what it is. And has he started playing yet? I don't even know if he started playing yet. I left that for the next thing. He was starting to play, I think, and they were trying to fight them off, but they were tied up.
Yes.
Oh wait, no, Zach already returned. Yeah, sorry, they already tied up. I forgot this. I wanted to keep this in this part. Oh, and then Ricky Daggers does come back into the movie because he reanimates from his grave. And even though I forget what he did, but anyway, he did something. And then Zach also returns and saves him and unties him, and then they start playing the song. But I end the scene there before we get to the finale part on the next one. So this is more about Zach leaving but coming back because he felt bad and untying them and saving them so that they can still fight the demons. So what do you have to say about that
Ricky Dagger's reappearance was nice. Oh, again, I wish I would have seen more of his character, but I know why he wasn't in the movie that much. So it's part of it. Yeah, it's a very Evil Dead tone.
one? Yes.
They decide they're going to play the music backwards. And in the beginning of the movie, when they played the song, I thought, oh, all they have to do is play backwards to make these demons go away. And then later in the movie, they had said, oh, we're going to play it backwards. I thought, oh, I wonder if that's going to work.
But then he
But
didn't have all the notes too, so he's got to play it by memory.
by memory. But you would think by now that they would know the song by heart because
I
this is the
guess.
only song that they've been playing. But I did see the Evil Dead tones in the movie. Like this whole movie is Evil Dead meets Wayne's World type.
Yeah,
It's so much
yeah.
comedy and slapstick humor and gore, and funny gore, especially with that dildo scene previously. But they don't get to play the whole song like you said right away. They get interrupted.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they continue on in the next scene.
And there's still the funny parts. Like I think it's during this where he says, "Oh my, it's not in tune or whatever. I don't think I'm in the right tune." And he's like tuning his guitar, and Medina's sitting there with a look on her face. Fucking really? You gotta tune your fucking guitar
like
now.
exactly. I thought this is the only song that they've been playing. Really. Your guitar should already be tuned, especially in an urgent situation.
Well, I guess if
You would
he's
think.
used the guitar, if I don't know, did he use it as a weapon before he was gonna play it? I don't know. It could have went out of tune when if he dropped it or something.
But anyway, he's got to tune it and he's really nervous and he's scared and trying to fight off these demons.
And then when Zach comes back, his face is painted with corpse paint. And it's another,
Yeah.
I didn't write this down, but Medina says to him, "So you came back to save us, but you painted your face first. How long did that take?" And he says, "It's
Yeah,
not."
she was just making fun of him for a little bit. Now at this point, Medina knows what happened between Zach and
Yeah.
Brody and her, right? So
Yeah.
she's trying to put an end to this love triangle bullcrap because she wanted to be with Brody in the first place. So I think Zach has to redeem himself from what he's done, and I think we do see
Yes.
that in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what song do you have for that one?
I have malignancy, inhuman grotesquerie.
Inhuman grotesqueries.
Yeah.
That's nice. Okay. We need to make some playlists here so I can hear some of these songs, I guess.
I'm gonna have to throw together a playlist.
Yes, we have
I've
talked
been
about that. We
talking
just
about
haven't
it and
did it
talking
yet.
about it, but I haven't actually. I have all the songs. I just haven't put a playlist together yet.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so my song for that is I went with Slayer, Hell Awaits, just because at the start of the song, Hell Awaits, there's some demonic talking what the girl was doing in that scene. So that's why I went with, and Hell does await if she gets to read the whole thing. And they aren't be able to play the song backwards first. So yes, Hell awaits if they can't
Yeah.
figure this out.
Yeah, because they're confronted by
Yeah.
Aloth, right?
Yes.
So.
Alof. Yes. Okay. Okay. Now our final scene. Here we go. So Brody's playing the final riff or the song on his guitar, and Zach is turning into a demon. Right? He's half demon, half human, and he's trying to kill Brody before he can finish it. But the music starts working and Zach pulls back and turns back into himself. But I guess the possession is too deep on him, so he needs. Oh, he's already played the song now, and so it's over. That part's over. So the demons are gone because he played the song backwards enough and he killed. I don't know why they made Zach a demon there, but whatever, because he was possessed, right? I guess they didn't really show that or even talk about that. But anyway, but Zach thinks he needs to kill him, so Brody he needs to die because he's not good enough or whatever. He can't keep living. So Brody kills him, and after the dust settles and the blood stops flowing, Brody and Medina emerge alive, but scarred, of course. And I think the other bandmates are still alive too, even though they just show Brody and Medina sitting at his place, listening to music, smoking cigarettes, fake cigarettes. I learned on my interview with her.
Oh, good.
Probably because I don't think she's ever smoked before. I think she told me just fake cigarettes. Let's see. And there was, let's see, Brody plugs in his guitar and hears Zach's distorted laughter echo through the amp. And that is like the end of the movie, except if you watch, did you watch the end of the credits?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't know if I ever watched the end of the credits before, but this time I did, and you hear Zach talking to Brody through the record, and they're
Yeah.
thinking of new band names or something in case he comes back to life. I don't know what he's doing, but anyway, so that's how the movie ends like that.
It's all part of the comedy vibe. I see you.
So make sure. So if you have never watched this movie, you might want to watch through the end of the credits just to see that little comical thing there where he's talking to the guy through the record. So yeah, that's the movie.
That's the movie. And time for Brody and her to hook up. Come on, they've been through so much through this movie. We didn't even get to see them hook up, hook up.
Yeah, we didn't get to see her naked. Not that we probably would, but
Yeah, just a flash of it.
but I was gonna say something about that. Oh, and she did. She had an obituary. No, she had a what was it? Suffocation shirt on in the last scene, or obituary? One of those two. I think it was suffocation shirt.
Suffocation, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, so she's a true metalhead, I guess now. Too.
Suffocation is the number one death metal band around that has been around for many years, and they created the New York death metal scene and the classic riff of death metal. So it's no wonder that she was wearing a Suffocation shirt.
And I know we'll get to the next part. We'll do our song first. So, what's your song? Did you pick Suffocation song?
No, I did that for number 1. Number 10, I picked Mortal Decay, Grisly Artifacts.
Grizzly Artifacts. Okay, and this was this was the last song I picked. I was like, what am I gonna pick for this? So I just went with a Manowar. I needed to get a Manowar song in here because if some of those fantasy scenes that they did with the girls naked and then the girls kissing that felt like Manowar to me. So I wanted to get a
Huh.
Manowar song in here. So I put violence and bloodshed for the finishing scene.
Oh, nice. And then you see also Dion's severed demon possessed head is shown at the end. He's still alive. Did you see that?
Oh, is he? Oh, did I see? I'd
Dreaming
probably be,
obscenities.
yeah. Oh,
That's a hint. There's gonna be another one.
there
It
is,
is
but it's
Deathgasm
10 years
2.
later.
Yep. That's
And
okay. I'm patient.
yes, and I know if you listen to that episode, she says there's special guests in the movie. I think the guy from Trivium, the singer, which name maybe you know his name, that he might have a cameo in it. I'm thinking,
Oh, that's
but
awesome.
where's it? Does Wikipedia
That
say?
might make sense. Trivium's on tour right now.
Yeah, and we do know that like Deathgasm 2. Okay, so they made Deathgasm 2 was supposedly in production like way back 10 years ago. And he said there is more gore in the first 10 minutes than the entire first movie, which is the one we just
Oh,
talked
that's gonna
about.
be great.
But at the time,
Great.
the movie, they couldn't get it put out because it's too bad, I think, is what it was. So the New Zealand Film Commission
They probably
Board
ran into rating,
would not
yeah, rating
do it.
difficulties and things.
So it wasn't until 2023 they started a Kickstarter campaign. So people that want the movie to happen could donate money and get stuff like you know how they do that, shirts, or you might get the soundtrack or whatever autographed, or you could have been in the movie, I think, if you paid enough money or and stuff like that. So that's what they did, and that's why they raised over $300,000, and that's why they can release the movie now. This is what I
Nice.
understand anyway from this and talking to her and stuff. And yeah, there's supposed to be guests in the movie. Some, I don't know who, but I believe the singer from Trivia, because she did say she met him at least anyway. She told me she met him. So I'm thinking maybe that means he's in the movie. I know they
Cool.
probably have a song on the soundtrack. I know a Canadian group called Into Eternity is on the soundtrack, I believe, for the new one, I think, which is they're from Western Canada. They're, I guess, melodic death metal, I think. But I don't have any of the others there. But anyway, so I think that is happening, and yes, and it's called Goremageddon is what it's called. Yeah, Goremageddon. Yeah. So we have
I
that.
think I've heard of that vaguely. Yeah. I just want to give a shout out to Kim for doing this interview. Really appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. And
Yes, it was
thank you
awesome.
so much. Yes. I
I was
loved it.
nervous, but she was easy to talk to.
I told you you'd be okay.
Yeah. And so hopefully, yeah, so hopefully after Deathgasm 2 comes out, hopefully early next year, hopefully she will be able to come on a podcast and we'll maybe talk about a new movie for the first time ever. Not that our podcast has been around that long,
No,
but
she's
we'll
from
talk
New
about
Zealand. She's from
new.
New Zealand,
Yes.
but she does come to US and Canada.
She has a place in LA, she told me also, because I'm going to send her a Metal Pit shirt, but she told me to wait till she's back in LA. Even though, see, I think when we got on the podcast, I think she thought I was in the United States because she mentioned America, and I told her I'm actually in Canada. I said it's North America, but anyway, but I think she did think I was in the States, but not that it makes any difference. You're in the States, but
Oh,
you couldn't be there. But I was just telling her, yes, I'm in Canada,
I'm sad
actually.
about
But
that. I apologize for not being there.
I said my demon red-haired friend is in the States, so I said
Next time I will be.
yes. We'll probably try to get more interviews with people from movies, hopefully, or bands or things like that. So if you
I'd
happen
love
to
to
be
interview
listening,
bands.
yes,
So I want bands to send us messages. I want them to be on our show. I want to be able to interview metal bands. I want to be able to interview horror fans as well. That would be great if they could send us either ideas too for songs. That would be great because
yes,
that's, yeah, if you have a new album that's coming out or you want to share some of your music, we don't mind that either. Even if we haven't heard of you, we don't mind. Please share.
yes. And if you give us the rights, then we can play your song on our podcast too.
That would be great.
Yes. And But so if you ever want to be a guest on the podcast, maybe like she just said, if you're in a band, or maybe you were acted in a horror movie, or you just really like horror movies and you have a lot of followers, because we need you to share the podcast so we can grow. So if you're listening, please share this podcast. Listen to my other podcast, the Metal Pit Podcast, which I also simultaneously released that interview with Kim on there too, just to get more people to listen to it. And so hopefully, yes. And we got to pick a movie for the next one. What's our movie for the next one?
What did we pick?
Do you remember? What a car.
Christine.
What a car.
Christine.
Yes, Christine. Is that Stephen King too?
Is it?
That was Stephen King, wasn't it?
I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to watch. I think that was Stephen King, wasn't it?
I think that was Carrie. Carrie, I think, is Stephen King, isn't it? I don't know if Christine is. Christine movie.
No, yeah, it is. It's based on a Stephen King novel.
It could be based on his book, yeah.
Adapted by Bill Phillips from Stephen King.
It was directed by John Carpenter.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Released in 1983 and is based on Stephen King's novel of the same.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so looks like Stephen King and John Carpenter collabed and made this movie.
Yeah, so I love that movie, Christine. Yeah, so that's going to be our next one from 1983. And that's why I started giving my car female names.
I need a name for my car. It's black. It's a Honda CR-V with a turbo in it. What do you think I should call my car?
Bob?
Bob? No, that's my vibrating toy.
Oh, Bob? Okay.
Yeah.
Call it Ash. Call your car Ash.
Ash. That's a good one.
Black. It's black and ash and whatever.
The only reason why I brought up vibrating toys is because of the movie. You know that, right?
Yes, I know that. I know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think Ash would be a great one.
Yes. Okay. So our next one will be Christine. And then hopefully we're going to have time to do one before Christmas. Yeah. And it will be a Christmas movie, but we'll wait to make sure we're going to have time to do that before we announce it. But it will be a Christmas movie. So think of Christmas movies that are horror. And there's a few, but I don't want to give it away just yet, just in case something happens and we run into time constraints and we don't get it done.
Yes, because we have full-time jobs.
Yes. Okay.
Unfortunately.
So thanks everybody for listening. And like we said, share us and like us and comment, message, whatever, blah, blah, rate us and all that stuff. So thanks, Lonnie. Have a good weekend, Lonnie.
Thank you too, Blake.
Okay. Thanks everybody for listening. Goodbye.
Thank you.
You were listening to Someone's in My Fruit Cellar podcast. Subscribe and rate our podcast wherever you listen to our podcast. Podcast edited by Blake. Visit our socials. Till next time.